watching the Dávid Kis podcast.
Hello and welcome back to the podcast. Tonight I am very excited because tonight's guest is the host and the founder of one of my most favourite YouTube channels. Tonight I'm joined with Alexandra from the infamous YouTube channel Do You Speak Greek? So Alexandra, thank you for coming on. It's an absolute honour to be speaking with you tonight, and again, thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much for your welcomed introduction, and thank you so much for having me here tonight, because it would be a pleasure for me to talk about my story.
Awesome, well, no problem at all. And I suppose we can get right into it. So what made you decide that you want to start a YouTube channel, certainly in the Greek language learning genre?
I started it because I have only one passion in this life: teaching. And teaching Greek. But in 2017, my life was quite simple. Because, I was teaching ancient Greek to high school students because I studied Greek philology in the university. And somehow I felt stuck at that time in 2017. So I said to myself that I need to do something different, something new, something that I would be excited about, because in 2017, I was somehow disappointed. I don't know why, with the Greek system here, with me, with myself, but I needed to create something new. And it wasn't just about my YouTube channel, because yes, I started teaching Greek on YouTube first, but I had a lot of things to do before that. For example, my English was very bad. I couldn't speak a word. And now you can understand that, okay, I don't speak very well, but I'm proud of myself because I can speak. In 2017, I couldn't speak at all. And another thing I had, it was that I wasn't very confident with my appearance. My teeth needed braces. And if you go back in my first videos, you will see that I didn't record myself on the camera. They are faceless because I was too shy to talk on the camera. But people loved all of that. And it made me want to create more and more content.
Well, to be fair, I think it's to be honest, I think everyone sort of starts out that way, where they start posting on YouTube. They kind of do faceless, as anonymous as it could possibly be. I know I did that back in the day, like 5 years ago. A lot of people do that, where they start off faceless, see what happens with it, and then they go on to actually showing their faces. So I don't think you're alone in that at all. I think that's pretty much the storyline for every YouTube channel in the world. They always start out anonymous and faceless. Now, you said that you taught ancient Greek in high school before starting your YouTube channel. Okay, now I'm getting a little bit jealous that we didn't have as many good subjects in my high school across America and what have you. But
not the Greek children. Greek children hate ancient Greek.
well, fair enough. Well, I'll happily trade with one of them, and maybe they could study Latin or something like that. But did you always have an interest in languages? Because you said that you didn't really speak English until about 6 years ago. So where did this whole love for languages start then?
Oh God, I always had an interest about the Greek language. I remember myself always want to be a teacher, a Greek teacher. But when I went to high school, I fell in love with ancient Greek writers like Plato, Aristotle, philosophers. I loved philosophers. And I had some very nice teachers there. And I believe that they helped me to decide to be a Greek teacher. So now with the other language, with the other languages, with foreign languages, it wasn't so exciting for me in the beginning, because I started learning English in primary school when I was 9 years old. But unfortunately, you can't learn a language only in the public Greek school. So my mom wanted me to learn English, so I went to a private school to learn the language. I went there for years, I think 6 years, 7 years, I don't even remember. But unfortunately, the system was very, very traditional. Let's say that traditional. I wanted to say that they were very focused on grammar, on textbooks, so I couldn't speak a word when I left the school. My interest and my excitement for a foreign language came later. I believe it was in my late 20s when I realized that you don't have to learn a language only for school and only to take an exam, but it will help you to connect with people, to communicate with them, to learn things about their mentalities and their cultures. So that's why I started to improve my English, and then I learned some Spanish too.
Okay, well, that's great. Actually, with that final statement, you did also answer my next question, which would be, did you just have a focus on English, or did you diversify? The example I would have brought up would have actually been Spanish. So I'm glad that we got that covered there. And to be honest, I'm fully with you, right? Like, I sort of grew up in a diaspora community, always abroad, always in a different country. So always in the English-speaking world, which is where I guess my English comes from, even though it technically isn't my first language. But still, right? I just love languages in general. It's something that I always knew about, but I think in the last 3 years, perhaps even 4 years, is when I really started looking into it. First with Latin, but then I was like, the Roman Empire is gone. It's time to move on. So I was like, Latin. I don't want to become a doctor. I sure as hell don't want to live in the Vatican. It's too small. So I thought, okay, maybe move on to a different language. And actually, what you said was very interesting about the educational system. I remember I was speaking to Rita Valiavi, who's a Finnish professor of linguistics. And I asked her, like, how is the system like in Finland? And she says that the educational system isn't necessarily the best, but they always watch films, TV shows in English. They don't really see stuff in Finnish, or they would watch it in English with only Finnish subtitles because no one would translate the audio. So do you think that, I mean, what is it like in Greece? Do you see a lot of English language content, or do you just stick to Konstantino and Eleni, or maybe Iseto Terimu, and that's the only thing that you ever watch?
No. New generations consume a lot of English content. My first time, the first time I spoke to real people in English, it was in my 30s when I went to Cyprus, and I was too shy, too embarrassed. I found a girl from France to communicate with because from the people from the UK I couldn't communicate at all. You know. So yes, it's like that in Greece too. We like to consume English content. So if we want to watch a movie, an American movie, we're going to watch it with English audio, but with Greek subtitles, let's say. Actually, last night we watched one Korean series, and it was dubbed in English, and we couldn't do that. We couldn't watch it with English voice. We needed the Korean voice.
Well, fair enough. I get that. I think I do understand where that comes from. I personally grew up watching a lot of old Italian westerns where, I don't know if you know how they were done, but basically there would be a Greek actor, an Italian actor, and an American actor. The American actor would speak English, the Italian actor would speak Italian, and the Greek actor would speak Greek. So when you watch enough spaghetti westerns, you get used to the idea that these people have no idea what they're saying to each other, but the director said, yeah, he's the good guy, he's the bad guy, you three don't like each other, and let's have a Mexican standoff. So I think that is kind of cool. But with Korean, I'm like, with most dubbed things, I'm with you. I don't know if I could watch Konstantino Keilenis or Iseto Terimu, which I don't know if you've started to realise is my main source of Greek media for the time being, since I can't access Mega TV for some reason. But if I were to watch that dubbed in English, I don't know if it would work necessarily as well. So I think there is a lost art in subtitles, for sure. But with your English, what you said that it was very textbook, the way in which they taught it, heavy focus on grammar, stuff like that. What do you think could be done to improve, just like, let's say the average person in Greece wants to learn English and they're not necessarily going to watch American films or TV shows, they can only learn it in that school environment. What could be done to improve it?
I will tell you what I did to improve my English, because when I was 16 years old, I couldn't speak a word. I mean, literally. So when I realized that I need to use the English language, actually for the Do You Speak Greek project, I wanted to be improved in English because I made Do You Speak Greek, and I said to myself, okay, you can teach Greek to foreigners if you don't speak somehow the English language. So I decided that I'm going to get improved. I started with movies. For years, I've been watching movies with my partner here. And I remember the first time that we couldn't find Greek subtitles for a movie, and I was crying because I couldn't find Greek subtitles and I needed to watch it with the English subtitles. It was crazy. But then I realized that the more input I get, the more output I will give. So I started watching a lot of movies, a lot of YouTube channel, real English, in the beginning with subtitles and then without subtitles. To be honest, I hired a teacher to help me with conversations. And as I told you before, my first time that I spoke with real people, it was in 2017 in Cyprus. And then I started speaking with people here on my channel with texts, and then some people got interested to have lessons with me, so I had to see them online or here face to face in Thessaloniki. It was the scariest thing I have ever done. But I'm proud of my journey. It wasn't easy. I've been learning the English language forever, and I believe it will be like that. You can't leave a language. A language is like gym. If you go once, you will have pain. But if you go and go and go, you will get better. The language is the same, my opinion.
It is. It's kind of like learning a muscle in a way where you can build it up, right? But if you then stop, it's going to go away very quickly. Like I was not fluent in this language by any means. I could have a very basic conversation in it 3 years ago. I studied Icelandic for about 6 months, I believe. Maybe a little
difficult,
maybe a little bit more. Yeah, it is. But and to be honest, I don't want to live in Iceland. Far too cold. Same time zone as well, so there's just no point. But that language, it was like, it wasn't the fact that it was difficult, it's the fact that I didn't feel like I would ever really use it. I had no aspirations for Iceland at that time. So now it's fully gone. Now it's completely gone. Now the only words that I remember are like Vega Brave, but I always work with passport, so I see that all the time. Or Drak Alvextir was a word that I enjoyed. It means dragon fruit. Drak Alvextir meaning fruit. So those stuff I enjoyed, but it is a bit like a muscle where it does go away very quickly. Same with Latin. I could potentially barter or try and trade, like in ancient times, something Latin, but I couldn't have like I couldn't talk like this in Latin. No way at all. No, but I to be honest, it's not really language I'm interested in. I'm far more interested in Greek for sure, but maybe also Spanish or something, or maybe Maltese if I'll ever get there. But let's go beyond to your channel again. You said that you first started making videos. I do remember these videos. It was sort of like presentation videos where you still didn't show your face. Was your channel an immediate success? As in, did people watch it? Like, let's say, did your first video get a lot of views, or was it something where not a lot of people watched it, but you knew that you had something here, so you kept going until people watched it?
Oh my God, no. Not an immediate success at all. I don't think that it is a success right now. I don't know. I give my best. I have some people that want to see me every Monday, so they write so beautiful comments, and I believe that we did this together. Like, okay, I wanted to create content for you, but I see that you appreciate this content and you want to see me, you want to see more of me. So now, when I don't have a video on Mondays, I feel bad because I know that there are people who have been waiting for me to upload something. But no, it wasn't an immediate success, and my first videos didn't have views at all. I mean, nothing. Thank God there are some very nice people on Facebook groups, and they let me to share my videos there. So many people found me on Facebook first, and then they came on YouTube. But what I have learned over the years is that you need to be consistent, persistent, and to be happy with what you offer to others, because you're going to take all these things you have given to them.
I think you have that all the time, and I love the way you worded that. You seem to have such a large level of respect for the community that you've built, which I really love. One thing that I never like is when a creator, irrelevant of their size, grows to a point where they have a level of contempt or disrespect for their audience. I can't see the logic in that at all, and I fully feel you with what you said. Like, just to give out my numbers here, this podcast channel, don't care about the numbers, to be honest. It's more about meeting people like you and talking with interesting people, you know, like I said. Doesn't even have 200 subscribers. I have another channel where I mainly talk about passports and immigration. That is on about 1,000. And even with that now, I'm like, okay, I have to upload a video every week, because even though it's only 1,000 subscribers, what if there's one dude from the Philippines who's waiting for that video? What if that information is going to change his life, right? What if he's looking to get that visa that I'm planning on talking about, and maybe that video will be the final decisive point. So for me, that's always a thing, like you said, where it's like, okay, just upload every week. I've been going for about 1.5 years now on that one. This one a little bit longer. But yeah, I love the way you worded that so much with the level of respect you seem to have for your audience.
For me, it is like you have an expression for that. It takes two to tango, right? I like this expression. So I'm not alone in this channel. If I was alone, if nobody watches my videos, maybe I wouldn't be so motivated. I mean that we do this to each other. People are there to motivate me to create more and more content for them.
Yeah, it's very true. I don't know if because like the weird case with me was I put up that one video and it got about 1,000 to about 3,000 in a couple of weeks, which never happened before. And that was a new YouTube channel, no videos before that, nothing. So that was a little bit surprising. And then I went, okay, I'm getting more comments and they're not robots. So something weird's going on here, because usually all I'd get is like some robot from Thailand trying to get me to buy some cryptocurrency. So now it was real people. I was like, okay,
yes, I remember that. Yes.
Yeah, there's actually something here that's worth doing. But yeah, no, absolutely. To be honest, I really do love the way you phrase it. And actually, with the "it takes two to tango" is very true. Was there? You said that it wasn't a immediate success. It didn't get a lot of views immediately. At what point did your channel start to grow a lot outside of the Facebook groups? Was there one video specifically that really put your channel on a different level?
I'll tell you that. Λοιπόν, so I started making videos 2018, but to be honest, I took serious action in 2020 during the quarantine, you remember. So I was making videos for 1 year. I started to show my face. I was filming with an old phone with bad quality. And I did that for 1 year. But then we decided that we need something different, because until then I was making classic traditional lessons for people. But to be honest, my story with English was different. My partner's story was different with English. So we wanted to create something new, something different, something not so traditional. And we started thinking what we can do to give something to people, not for the numbers. I have never thought about the numbers, to be honest. So we were starting to think how we would like to learn the English language in the past, and what we can do to bring that in my teaching style, first of all, and then to the channel. So I was thinking, do I want to be another traditional teacher to explain grammar rules and to write on a board? Or my place, my position would be to be out, to show the real language, to show the real culture, to connect the language with culture, to make people love the language through the country, because usually my audience is people who want to travel in Greece, or or they want they have some Greek roots. So yes, we decided to do that, and it was our first investment for the project, the channel, the big investment, and we bought a GoPro camera. So we went out. And the first video I did with that camera, it was in April 2021, as I remember well. And I wanted to test the camera, you know. So I said to myself, okay, go to the balcony and film a video about Greek breakfast. And that video got 45,000 views for the first time. So I believe that my content has changed since then. When we bought the GoPro and we went out, that was the first video, and then all of my content has changed until now.
Well, you should definitely do a update, because if you should definitely do like a what Greeks eat for breakfast part 2. I think I'd love to see that one specifically. No, but that's great, because I did look at your most viewed. I thought it would be the one that was on a 119,000, but I think that was a little bit after in the timeline of your YouTube channel. I think that was just a couple of years ago, not necessarily 3 or 4. So the views on that are incredible. To be honest, they're incredible. So that's really cool. And actually, I think that's actually a very unique video. What do Greeks eat for breakfast? It's something that seems very obvious, but thinking about it, I don't know. So I'd imagine a lot of people also didn't know as well, which is probably what made it so heavily watched. What would you say? Because that was a video that really changed things, you know, with the GoPro and everything. Would you say you have a single video that you would classify as your proudest video?
Oh my God, I'm proud of all my videos. But I believe that 2024 was a very nice filming year for us. It was difficult in life, but all these lessons we got were applied to our videos, because in the beginning of 2024 we decided to upgrade a little more our equipment, to give better quality videos to our people, and to make them love more Greece and the Greek language. But we also decided to make little stories, not just vlogs as I used to do until then, but we created some very beautiful stories with how can I say that, with philosophical ideas, and they're not so easy for the people to understand them, but I believe that all this content is me in 2024. So we created some nice videos, but my proudest, I believe, it's that one we filmed in August in Rhodes. You know Rhodes, the island. Because it was a story about the values we have in life and how important it is to keep the values. And it was not only the story, but it was the filming. We had to wake up at 6 a.m., for example, to go to film out, because in Rhodes there were a lot of tourists and we couldn't find a place to be comfortable to film. We had to climb castles. We had to draw a big butterfly in the sand on a beach. I mean, we did crazy things, but I believe that video, if someone watches that video, you can understand a very strong and beautiful meaning for life. It's not only Greek language, it's a value of life. And I'm so proud for that video.
Well, to be honest, it sounds incredible. I have your channel here, and I do see which one it is. Rhodes, the Island of Nights, a Greek story in Rhodes, 2 months ago, 13.
Yes, you have watched it. If I had one video to suggest to you to watch from my channel, this would be the Island of the Nights.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Well, I can always watch it again, so there's no problem there at all.
Oh my God, I cried so many times there in Rhodes. I cried. I mean, it was very hard for me to film it. It took about 50 hours, 20 hours filming for sure, and 30 hours for editing. Yes, it was the most difficult video we have ever created.
But like 50 hours to film, 20-30 hours to edit, it sounds like a long time, but 20 hours to edit, that could just be editing the intro, right? So editing takes so long, or it could just be rendering the bloody thing. So editing takes a long time. Out of curiosity, do you self-edit? Are you just like, naturally you said you have a partner, I don't know how much they help you out here, but are you sort of like a one-person team with your channel?
Yes, it's me and my partner. My partner Dimitris decided to make some videos this year. This year he started to edit my videos. He didn't have any idea of editing, to be honest. But, we learned from Google, from the tools. So I believe that Dimitris has a very different view than I have. You know what I mean? So all these ideas were his ideas. I have a more happy point of view, and Dimitris has a more philosophical point of view. So we connected and we made all these things you saw in 2024.
Okay, awesome, incredible. That was very beautifully put. Out of curiosity here, because I'm like I like to geek out on this type of stuff. What like editing softwares do you use? Are you in the Adobe stuff or Photoshop? What have you? What softwares do you use?
No, to be honest, I tried Adobe, but it was very difficult for me to handle it. So I've been using forever Filmora, Wondershare Filmora. I don't know if you know it. And now because I invested in a 360 camera, we use the 360 software of the camera. For me, it's very difficult to use it. Thank God Dimitris handles it now. I can't use it now. I use only Filmora. So I think that if you go to my channel, you will understand from the editing what video is mine and what is Dimitris.
Okay, well. The reason I ask is I was watching one of your videos, and one thing that I struggle with when I make videos is how to transition from one point to the other. Right now, I do a fast zoom in with a little whoosh sound effect, but frankly, I'm getting a little bit bored of that. And I really liked your I really like the transitions on some of your more recent videos where it's kind of like a Star Wars effect where it just slides from one frame to the other. So I'm thinking I might adopt that to my own videos because I'm kind of bored of this whole zoom in and whoosh. It's a little bit childish, I think, now for me. So I might actually change that to that Star Wars style of sliding transition because I want to diversify a little bit more. But I really do like that, and I think I'll make mine similar to yours because I like the way it was. I like the way it was shot. I enjoyed your 6-minute video that you uploaded quite recently.
Do you use Adobe?
I use different things here and there. I've used Adobe. I use CapCut. What's that other one? DaVinci Resolve. But DaVinci Resolve is stupid where it asks for your address, but it only accepts American addresses. So there's probably some guy living in America who keeps getting letters about my account because I just looked up some random address on the internet for America and just put that in there. So if you're watching this, mate, apologies, but I needed the software. But it's a free software, which is why I like it. I did learn editing though on Sony Vegas. I haven't used Sony Vegas in a long time, but in America I use Sony Vegas. It is my favorite one of all time. But I'm a CapCut, Premiere, and Photoshop, but Canva I also use for the thumbnails and that. So
Canva, of course. Canva for me is perfect.
Canva's undefeated.
But no, Filmora is easy. Is what I need. Filmora. That's it. One. I don't have to learn more things.
Okay, fair enough. Well, to be honest, my method is I always want to learn as many softwares as possible so that if I'm ever in a different place where I can only access one, no problem. So I will check out Filmora now, and then maybe I'll start editing on that one. So if my edits start becoming a little bit different, a little bit similar to Alexandra's, then just know I have started to use Filmora here. But the Canva stuff, we will keep the same.
Yeah, Dimitris is like you. He used all of the softwares you mentioned before, but I'm like, okay, now I know that one. I don't want to learn about that one. No, leave me alone. But yes, you should try Filmora. It's easy. It's easy and it has everything. All the transitions, titles. It has everything we need.
Okay, I will definitely check it out then, because I always want to, even if I don't like one, like there's a terrible one that's always advertised on the internet, and it's, what's it called? It's terrible, it's very basic. It's actually quite good, but it's very basic. I don't remember what it's called. I think it is literally just called Video Editor, which says a lot that it's just called that. Like, that's not the best name in the world, but I did use that for a couple of years when I had a terrible laptop and couldn't download any pro software, But so I did use Video Editor, and UCut is another one that I used to do on the mobile as well. But now I'm looking at doing more pro stuff like your channel, like you said with Dimitris as well. So I'll definitely check out Filmora. Now, I want to move further into the Greek language specifically. Naturally, when we think about countries where Greek is spoken by the majority, you would think Greece and Cyprus, and maybe some minorities in Albania, places like that. And maybe the diasporas in America, Canada, and Australia. How much demand is there, in your experience, as a teacher of the Greek language who has their YouTube channel, who does private lessons as well? How much demand is there for the Greek language compared to English, Spanish, or German?
Oh my God, I've been learning English forever, so... You know, I believe that it depends. It depends on the person. And because we talked about motivation before, I believe so much in motivation, because some people don't believe in motivation and they say, okay, I want to learn a language. For me, it's not like that, because I take as an example myself. I mean that if you want to do something, you're going to do something. So if you want to learn Greek, if you have a motivation for that, you're going to learn it quickly. If you don't have a motivation, or if you sometimes feel disappointed, it's okay for you, and you will spend a little more time to learn it, I believe. But I don't know about German. I can talk about Spanish. For me, Spanish was an easy language because it has many common with Greek. But in an easiest way, because the Greek language has all these grammar constructions. Spanish language doesn't have all of these things. So for me, it was a kind of translation from Greece. English was difficult because it's quite different than Greek. But I believe in motivation, to be honest. If you want, you're going to learn.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, and I think this is a bit of a hot take that a lot of my friends aren't too fond of. I remember my good friend in Kenya, we spoke about this quite thoroughly one night over the phone, but I basically told her, like, you shouldn't need to read a motivational book to get motivated about something. If you really want to do it, you'll do it. You do it. Like let's take me for example here. I wanted to study Latin, Icelandic, all these languages that I should have just started with Greek immediately. I don't know why I tested out all those other languages, but I suppose there was something to learn there. But I didn't need to watch a motivational video to finally sit down and study Icelandic for 6 months, or Finnish, or something like that. I was just about it. Actually, Finnish I studied for a very weird reason. I saw some comedian and I thought that's interesting, but I stopped that as well. But Greek, I didn't need to see a Tony Robbins seminar to start learning Greek or what have you. So I do completely understand what you mean. It's a little bit of a hot take, I think, but I do fully understand that. But in general, in regards to actually teaching the language, because what I'm trying to get at here is, how popular is the Greek language to learn for foreigners compared to Spanish?
No, it's not so popular. And I wanted to tell something about what you said before. I believe that motivation is inside us. For me, it was, do you speak Greek? And I wanted to spread the Greek language all over the world. In my community, I have people 80 years old. They want to learn Greek because their motivation is to do something for themselves and to go to Greece to communicate with people there. For other students, they want to learn Greek because they want to connect with their family. So motivation is inside us. The more you want something, the more you're going to achieve it, as I think. So can you repeat the question? Sorry. I wanted to say that.
No, that's fine. I do agree with that, and it's incredible that you still got 80-year-olds learning Greek. That's very. It reminds me a little bit of Christopher Lee. People might know who I'm talking about there. Bro just did everything. But what I'm trying to get at here, Alexandra, is the actual popularity abroad. How popular is it for foreigners to learn Greek compared to maybe Spanish?
No, it's not so popular, I believe, because, Spanish is a language is spoken in a lot of people around the world. But Greek, we speak only in Greece, let's say Cyprus, but in Cyprus they speak a dialect of Greece, and they speak quite well English too. So, people who want to travel here to speak with us, they're going to learn the language. So that's why in my channel I wanted to do that, to connect the country with the language, because I know that the people who learn the language are people who want to to come to live here, or they want to travel here. So their motivation, I wanted to be their motivation with my videos. Their motivation will be to, okay, I love the country, so I'm going to love the language too, you know. But I'm so happy because, you know, when I started the channel, I wouldn't expect all these people to want to learn Greek. And if you ask Greeks now, they will tell you, okay, why do you need to learn Greek? Because here everybody speaks English. But no, you can see those people they want to learn my language, and for me it's an honor, really. And I felt that in the beginning when people started to write comment and they used to send text to me to say, okay, I'm learning with you, I want to learn your language because I want to come here to visit the islands or anything. For me, it was crazy, and I loved it.
No, it is very true. I feel like every nationality, every speaker of a language that isn't as popular around the world, that isn't English, Spanish, or maybe Portuguese, I would argue. If you don't come from a country that speaks that language as their main language, I always feel like everyone has that, and I relate to what you said because there's a guy I know, and shout out to Nick if you're watching this, but there's a guy I met online who is he's Jamaican American, and very niche language to learn. He's learning Hungarian of all languages, which, you know, for some dude who's in Jamaica and America, that's like super rare. You'd imagine Spanish maybe, but not Hungarian. So I reached out to him saying, listen, mate, I speak Hungarian, I can help you out if you want. So I feel like that's always a little bit weird. And he said that when he went to Hungary, it was also that thing of a lot of people were saying, why are you speaking a language? Why do you have the old runes written on your customized T-shirt? So I always feel like every country has that. It may be the same with maybe if you go to a place like Serbia or something, like, oh, you're learning Serbian, how come, or anywhere like that. Really,
Yes.
I think that's
Oh,
very
a lot
cool.
of Serbians learn Greek.
Yeah, well, I'd imagine they do. And actually, I'd imagine, and again, this is, I probably shouldn't have said Serbia now, but I'd imagine a lot of Albanians do as well, because I spoke to a friend of mine in Thessaloniki, and I asked, because I was watching some Greek shows, I was like, why do they always make fun of Albanians? I didn't get it, because, like, Albania's a little bit far away. It's not a neighbour of Hungary or the UK, and certainly not of America. So I didn't really understand what this whole thing with Albania was, but now I sort of understand it a little bit. So I'd imagine a lot of Albanians do as well. But Serbs and Albanians, no fine in the comments, please. But I think Greek is a...
Usually, Albanians, of course, because they live here, they speak Greek very clearly. And I have a friend who came from Albania when she was 12 years old, and now she's native in Greek. She speaks very well. Serbians, because they travel here, especially in Thessaloniki and Chalkidiki. UK people, you learn Greek because you like the islands. Germans, Italians, and Americans. And as I like to say to my students too, all these languages, Greek, included Greek, and Hungarian, as you said, are languages of the heart. Because, you know, I had to learn English to communicate with people around the world, you know. But you don't have to learn my language, because if you come here, I'm going to speak you in English, of course. But you love the language, and this is very important for me. And that's why I keep doing content for these people, because they love my language. And this is very important. And when they come here, they don't want to be just tourists, to go around, to speak in their language, to do things they would have done in their countries. They want to live the Greek dream, as someone wrote me on YouTube. And this is lovely.
And this is a little bit. This might not. I'd imagine if you live in Greece, you'll know what I'm talking about. But I'd imagine the Spaniards probably get this more, and certainly the Portuguese. When I went to Portugal, I just want to leave that airport immediately from what I saw. The Cypriots, that I don't really think see this, because when I went to Cyprus, I didn't really see that much. But I think a lot of people who are from England or maybe America now, American tourists and English tourists, they have a reputation abroad. There's a famous city in Spain called Benidorm. Beautiful skyline, beautiful city. I am never stepping foot into that city because I know what type of people are there. I know the type of people that go there because I see them at the airport. So I think a lot of people want to escape the idea that they're being a tourist now. So I think that does go into it a lot. And I think with learning a language, you can sort of blend in a little bit better. Maybe change your name while you're there as well. That might be another strategy. But I think the furthest you can distance yourself from the obvious tourists, who wear their hats and they have their checkered shirts tucked into their shorts with the big belt on and the big belt buckle, and they're being very loud, and there's some drunk woman there as well with her tattooed boyfriend. So it's like, yeah, I'm not one of those people. I'm a local. Let's just stay away from here. But thankfully, Cyprus, I haven't explored Cyprus too much, but I didn't see a lot of that there. So that is quite lucky. But I'd like to.
Oh, I've seen in Paphos.
Have you? Oh, really? Because that was the major place that I hit, and I didn't see that much. I saw one, but it was much worse in Portugal. I remember because this was funny. I was flying to Portugal, and my family, they wanted to. They were on the window seat, and they wanted to film us landing on Portuguese soil since it was our first time there at the time. And so we're filming it, and you'd imagine like maybe we have to put music over it now because behind us these two English couples started arguing and they were swearing at each other. I think they also had a fight. So we were trying to film a beautiful landing in Portugal, and you could just hear these rough people swearing in the background, hitting each other. And so we went.
That's the reality. If you go, when I went to Italy, to Rome, I could understand Greek people too. People say that we are loud, and we are, and this is nice.
Yeah. Well, it's not just about the loudness, because like being loud is fine, but it's like the behavior is crazy. So it's like as soon as we got off that plane, we were like, right, okay, let's get our EU passports out, throw our other one in the bin, we don't need it here, let's just distance ourselves as much as possible from these people. We're not these people, we're foreigners from a different country, we're entering on a different passport, we're not from this country, we've never lived there, we don't know these people, right? But that is I do understand where these stereotypes come from. Out of curiosity, beyond just the love for the language and the culture and what have you, because like you said, I do think that is an important factor here. What other benefits are there to learning Greek specifically instead of any other language beyond just loving the culture?
I believe that you have to learn Greek because, it's one of the oldest languages on the planet. And Greek has influenced many languages. So, as we like to say here, you speak Greek and you don't know it. Maybe in your language you have so many Greek words there. Would you like to know them? And because we have this etymology in Greek, and I love it. I love etymology. I love to find out the roots of the words, and you can do that with the Greek words. So yes, learn Greek to understand your language better.
Well, it is very true, and actually I was surprised at how much it has influenced. You'd imagine, because maybe it would have influenced maybe Farsi because of the ancient empire, what have you, because that's sort of the region they went to. The Greeks never made it to London or France, as an example here. They expanded eastwards and southwards. But even north and west, there's been so much influence. Like, I remember because in the Western world, you often think that Latin is the primary influence. And if you study Latin, you can see it a little bit with the structure and just the way in which words are put together. But with the individual words, you can see the Greek. And for example here, with English and Hungarian, in Hungarian, the word for clothes or clothing is ruha. I'm sure you can immediately imagine where that came from. Or in, actually, as you said, etymology, I'm big on that too. If I'm ever reading a Wikipedia article, the etymology is the first section that I'm reading, because it usually is also the first one there as well. But even in English words like anthropology, I'd imagine came from Greek as well. You have other words as well. Hortofat, no, probably not. But you have these type of words, right? Or pukamiso, and in Portuguese, I think it's camisa and camiso, depending on the genders. So you see those influences everywhere. So I that was one thing that really surprised me, to be honest, where it's like, wow, this language really has influenced so many languages that wasn't even a part of their old empire. So that's like the level of influence that they had is actually incredible. So I've seen so much influence. Like, is it weird for you as a native Greek speaker to maybe when you're studying English to read a sentence and go, yeah, this came from Greek?
Do you remember Gus from the Big Fat Wedding? He used to do that. He used to say, oh, this word is Greek. No, it's lovely when I see a Greek word. When I understand that a word is Greek. And of course, in the Greek language, there are so many foreign words too. And we use them every day. As you said, pukamiso. I think is Latin. I don't know. So, yes, I believe that this is necessary. And I love to understand when we have a word like that in other languages. In English, I can understand in English and in Spanish. In Spanish, sometimes they sound the same, like fantasía, right? Fantasy in English.
Well, you see that all the time, but also one thing that I think makes Greek specifically unique, and this might be because of the fact that they haven't had an imperial empire for a long time, or maybe their media hasn't gone abroad a lot. But if you hear German, even if you don't speak it, you know it's German. If you hear Italian, you know it's Italian. If you hear Spanish, you know it's Spanish. If you hear Portuguese, you think, why is that Spanish guy speaking so weird? But with Greek, you don't necessarily, when you hear it, if you have no knowledge of it, you don't know that it's Greek. It's the same principle with Finnish or Hungarian or Estonian. You will only know that those are the languages if you actually have studied it even just a little bit, then you can recognize it. But if you just hear it on the street, I don't think you would have any idea that it's Greek if you don't even know a single solitary word of language, if you can't even say
Really?
yasas. Yeah, I genuinely think so, because my friend and I were in Budapest, and there's this Roman bath in Budapest which is called the Széchenyi. It's like a hot thermal spring Roman bath, quite good to be honest. And we were in there, and we heard some Spanish people. Now, naturally, the stereotype fit very well. They were very loud, so I think that might have helped a little bit as well. But
they're like us.
yeah, maybe. But they were very loud, and but we recognised language immediately. But there were also some Finns there as well. And my friend said, "What language is that? I have no idea." I knew because I'd studied Finnish for about 6 months. So I went, "That's Finnish." I recognised some words, and he went, "I never would have thought that in my life." And I think Greek is quite similar, because I've heard people speak Greek in public before, and before I studied it, I didn't know what language it was, but now thinking back, I can recognize it a little bit here and there. So I think it is one of those unique languages where if you don't know it, it's kind of like a weird language that you don't know where it came from, which I think adds to a level of mystery there. I'm curious because the two major countries that speak Greek would be Greece, naturally. What other language would they speak? And Cyprus, the Republic of Cyprus. You said that the Cypriot is more of a dialect. In my conversation with Elena Efthimiou, who's a fellow, she's Cypriot, she also teaches Greek on YouTube. She said that Cypriot Greek is much similar to ancient Greek. beyond that, what would you say are the key similarities and differences between mainland Greek and Cypriot Greek?
For me, the biggest difference is the pronunciation, because when I listen to Cypriot Greek, it's like a song to me. Like, it's very nice. I believe now there are some different words, but to be honest, if I listen carefully, I can understand the meaning. But if they speak very, 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 very quickly, I couldn't understand a word. So yes, maybe it sounds like ancient Greek more, because they have this the opposite, verb plus pronoun. Like we say se agapo, I love you, se agapo, but they say agapose, agapose. But this, you can find this in other Greek dialects too, like the Pontiac one. And we listen to that one here in North Greece a lot. So yes, for me the major difference is the sound of the language.
Fair enough. Well, to be honest, I've been to Cyprus. I haven't yet been to Greece, so I must go there to investigate this further, shall we say. But without being too biased here, please try to be neutral here. But which would you say is better sounding, Greek or Cypriot Greek?
Oh my God. No, I can't decide. But okay, Cypriot is like a song. It's nice to hear it,
The whole country it's kind of weird. It's like I went to America wishing to go to a place that Cyprus was like. It's very weird, because like when I went to America, I had an idea in my mind of what it would be like. I'm not saying it was bad, but it wasn't what I'd imagined. But when I went to Cyprus, I remember thinking, this is what I thought America would be like when I went to America. Which is kind of like that. It's weird. It kind of still has that early 2000s aesthetic to it, which I really do like. I'd imagine in the bigger cities you have the modern skyscrapers and you have the modern cars, but when you go to like the smaller areas, you see this early 2000s sort of Californian lifestyle there, which is what I went to America expecting, but now it's a little bit different. But Cyprus did have what I imagined, so I think Cyprus is a beautiful place, and naturally year-round nice weather. Florida, it's a little bit cooler than Florida, which I do appreciate, because Florida's a little bit too warm.
It's very hot.
yeah, it's very.
You know hot. What it's incredible with Cypriot dialect, for me, it is that people in the country, in all over the country, I mean, the oldest people, the youngest people, they try to keep their dialect. And this is very important, because in the whole Greece you can find different dialects, but in Cyprus they want to keep it. So this is very important. They don't want to lose it somewhere between the modern Greek language and English, They want to keep that dialect.
Well, I think they have every right to, because they're an independent country. I don't think a notice would ever happen. So I think that is also kind of unique, where they do have that different aspect to it. It's because I'd imagine, like, although this is the same country here, but I'd imagine mainland Italian and Sicilian Italian is also going to be a little bit different, or maybe mainland Portuguese and Madeiran Portuguese is also going to be a little bit different here and there. But I think you get that everywhere, though. I'm curious. I had a conversation with both Elena about this and Alex Rawlings, who's a fellow English Greek linguist. Naturally, Greek that's spoken today is not the same as the Greek that was spoken 2,000-3,000 years ago. But then again, English that was spoken 500 years ago isn't the same as it is now. But just so that I can get more of an understanding on this, how different is modern Greek to ancient Greek?
Quite different. That, again, I think that the pronunciation was different. And the thing is that with ancient Greek, we have only written texts, The language is not alive in the oral speech. So in the text, we can understand the words. If Greeks see the words, we understand more or less the words. But because the grammar system and the whole perspective of the language was different, so I believe that we couldn't understand without actually studying the language.
If I were to go back in time 700 years ago and speak to someone in Hungarian or English, we wouldn't understand each other. If you were to go back in time to ancient Greek time, would you understand the people that you would speak to? Would they understand you, or would it?
I don't think so, to be honest. 700 years, is it too much or is it too short? But I don't think so. Maybe the oral language was different, but I don't think that we could understand each other.
I actually have evidence that time travel isn't real, because if it is, I would be here right now giving myself a massage while I'm recording this. But naturally there's no one behind me, so time travel, at least in my lifetime, isn't going to exist, because if it is, I would be behind myself right now doing this podcast. But no, genuinely, because that is one thing that I often think about. I'm curious here, as someone who is studying the language, but also someone who's trying to learn more about fellow people who are studying it. I'm in some groups online where people are learning the same language, and we talk about linguistics and everything else. As someone who does teach the language, what are the key mistakes that people make when they are first learning it?
Do you mean mistake in grammar or mistakes in mentality?
Grammar, not mentality. Let's say they've got the perfect mentality and they're about it. They're really about it. But let's just say they met, like, grammar-wise is perfect. Yeah.
I have seen many people to want to learn the Greek language without learning the alphabet. And I believe that this will be very difficult for them, first of all, and for the teachers. If you hire a private teacher and you're going to say to them, okay, I want to learn Greek, but teach me some things to say, and I don't want to learn the alphabet. I don't believe that this is good, because the Greek language has its own alphabet, and first of all, we need to respect that if we want to learn it. Okay. Now, after that, of course, because the Greek language has many articles, you're going to make mistakes. Sometimes you're going to omit the articles. Sometimes you're going to put more articles than you need. After that, many people are confused with the subjunctive form. Because in English you say, I want to go, to the supermarket. In Greek, it's a little more difficult to say that, because you need to think the second verb. Do I need to use the second verb in future or in present? Okay, but for me, mistakes like that, to be honest, don't matter. If you want to learn a language, you need to be sure that you're going to make mistakes. If you think that you're not going to make mistakes, or you're afraid to make mistakes, you will never speak the language. Because I was at that point, and I started speaking only when I realized, okay, Alexandra, now you're going to speak it. So you're going to make mistakes, and this is it.
That's very true. And actually, what you said about the alphabet, I'm glad that you said that, because the alphabet was the first thing that I made sure that I could master. Before knowing any single phrase, I was like, okay, get the alphabet done, because not even just for the language itself. Like I can also read and write Cyrillic. I can't speak a single Slavic language, and to be honest, I don't really have any aspirations to. But I like writing in English and in Hungarian, but in different alphabets. So sometimes, like, if I have to write myself a note to remind myself of something later, like maybe buy fish or something, I'll write that in English, but I'll write it in the Cyrillic letters or in the Greek letters now. So I think that's very true, because my friend started a Duolingo course, And he told me in the Greek, I was like, why? I said, did you study the letters first? And he said, no, I just went straight to the lessons. I went, okay, fine, because I think they teach it anyway during the actual lessons. But he said, why is it that they say to nero, but it says to vepo? So I was like, bro, just learn the alphabet first, because it's not vepo.
Yes. Does Duolingo has the Latin letters, or they start with Greek letters?
It starts with Greek, but with any language that has a different alphabet, there's a subsection that's just about the letters. You don't learn any phrases or anything. It's just going to teach you how to pronounce the letters, how to read the letters, and how to write them. So I started with that first before I even did a single lesson learning about nana, tonero paracalo, or anything like that. It was just the letters first.
For me, this is very important, and I can see that on my YouTube channel. When I have a lesson for beginners, for example, they expect for me to write in Latin and in Greek too, But for me, because I love so much my language, is a little, how can I say that, disrespect to do that. And we can use the national phonetic alphabet, but most of the people in this planet, they don't know how to pronounce the national phonetic letters. So you need to find your ways to give the pronounced words. So I remember once I wanted to teach some love words, and I used the word agapi, which means love. How can I write in Latin letters this sound? So I wrote G plus H. I put that H to make the sound softer. And I had a very big disagreement in the comments. Why did you write GH and you didn't write just G? Because if I write just G, you're going to read agape, which is not correct. So you need to understand that it is agape. That's why I insist on the alphabet.
Well, it's very true. And frankly, even if someone isn't motivated to learn the Greek language or any Cyrillic language, learn the alphabet, because then it'll be harder to be able to break into what you're writing down. It's like, if you want to write down something private but you don't speak another language, just learn another alphabet, write it down in that language, but use like the Greek letters or the Cyrillic letters, which is what I do all the time, to be honest. I remember in one of my exams in high school, I accidentally wrote a word in English, but with the Cyrillic letters. So, okay, well, they're not going to be able to read this, but like that happens all the time. And actually, I love what you said about the fact that you will make mistakes. And actually, I'm still sort of in the beginner phase, but one mistake that I made that I did sort of laugh about, I was texting someone who's in the language learning community that I'm in Greek, very basic Greek though. And I don't remember what I wrote exactly, but I wanted to use the word apopse, but I forgot the letter psi. So I wrote the p letter and the sigma, but I didn't write the ps.
Yes, you reminded my brother now. He used to do that when he was a child. to write P plus S instead of psi.
Yeah, I did that too. So I was like, okay, yeah, never doing that again. So I immediately unsent that. Hopefully they never screenshotted that, because I don't want that level of embarrassment being held over me. But like that was a crucial mistake that I remember making, where it's like I did make that mistake, or I made some other mistakes as well, but that was the key one that stuck with me, where I used the P and the sigma, but not the psi. And I actually like how that letter looks as well. So that was a little bit unfortunate. The major thing that I struggled with in the beginning was conditioning yourself, because the Latin H is also the Cyrillic N, and it's also one of the Greek E letters. So that was a little bit tough for me to condition myself that this one shape can make 3 different sounds depending upon the language that you are reading in. So that was a little bit tough for me to condition myself in. Okay, if you're going to write it like this, it's a H. If you're going to write it like this, it's a ñ, and if you're going to write it like this, it's one of the E letters. So that was a little bit tough, but I think, like you said, I think the letters are crucial, and I don't think it's good to romanize them at all.
Yes, but I can't imagine how difficult it is for you to learn a whole different alphabet, you know. It's like I would try to learn Arabic, for example. But if I try to learn Arabic, I think that I need to learn their alphabets, their way of writing the letters. Of course, I respect that there are some people who want to learn only some phrases and words to use for their travels in Greece, like Yashu, Ευχαριστώ, Parakalo. Okay, and I understand that, but I would advise them that the better way to learn them correctly is to listen from the native speakers. Yashu, Yashu, and practice. Listen and practice. Don't write.
I do Latin conversions, mainly for song lyrics and stuff like that. But I actually think the only time where converting it from, let's say, the Cyrillic alphabet or the Greek alphabet to the Latin alphabet would be good as if you're trying to memorize a song phonetically. Then fine, because that actually does work. But in general, I would also agree with you in the fact that learn the alphabet first, irrelevant of what language. If you're Chinese and you're trying to learn English, it would probably be beneficial to learn the Latin letters, right? Because you might be able to write some words with Chinese letters, but I can't guarantee that you'll be able to write the whole language, every single sentence that you could ever construct with Chinese letters. Same principle. If you're speaking English and you want to learn Chinese, learn the Chinese letters. I think that's always crucial, and I think it adds to that overall aesthetic of it. Would Greek be as beautiful if it was written in Latin? Potentially not. Maybe it's the fact that it does have a unique alphabet that does add that extra level of beauty to it. I don't know, but
actually, some years ago, we used that we called Greeklish. Can you understand what this is?
Yeah. It's like Spanglish.
It's Greek words written with Latin characters, and we started to use that because of the texts when we used to write. And you know how difficult it is to write some Greek words, because we have a lot of sounds like E, like O, like E, and of course even Greeks sometimes don't know how to use them, to use all these letters. So this Greeklish type of the language was easiest for texting quickly. But then, we started a long conversation that it's not good for the language, and we need to go back to the to the language we had. And I believe in that.
Yeah, you shouldn't. I think it would be very weird if people who speak English would then mix it up with another language. Like if they would speak a hybrid between English and Spanish forever, it wouldn't really work. You would lose both languages at the same time there, because it would just merge into one that wouldn't really work, in my opinion. Same principle with, like you said, Greek and English. I think if all English-speaking countries would do that, and if all Greek-speaking countries would do that, you would lose both native languages very quickly, which isn't a good thing at all. And frankly, I think I don't like. I actually would argue, and this is getting very niche here. I would actually argue that the Greek alphabet is probably the best looking one. Cyrillic, I'm not too fond of. It's very easy. It's very easy to learn. It's easier than Greek, 100%.
Oh, yeah, it's easy, right?
It is very easy. 2 hours, you'll have that mastered like nothing else. It might even be easier than Latin at a certain point, right? But it's not a nice sounding alphabet. Whereas Latin is, I would say, in the middle, and then Greek takes the cake with the letters and how it's shaped, how it's formatted. I would say Greek, for the Psi letter alone, I think should take the cake 100%. So.
Xi and Xi. Can you remember Xi? Is it difficult for you?
Yeah, well, not anymore. After making that one mistake, I was like, okay, if I ever make this mistake again, I have to do like a marathon as punishment. So I don't think I'll ever make that mistake again where I accidentally use the P and the Sigma instead of the C. So I think I've got that covered. I might even get the letter tattooed on, so I never forget it. But no, jokes aside, I do think the Greek alphabet is one of the best ones, and I'm not saying every language should adopt it, but it is a very very beautiful one. Out of curiosity for your audience, you said them you established the countries where they come from and why they're learning it. What would you say is the main motivation for people learning Greek? Would it either be because they come from a Greek family, or they just want to travel to a Greek-speaking country?
These two things, to be honest. First of all, if you see the analytics on my channel, people from the from the US in the top of my list because there are many Greeks there, so I believe they want to connect with their roots, so they watch my channel. And then people from the UK because they travel here, and I believe that there are many Greeks there too, right?
Yeah, there are, but to be honest, I think knowing the majority of UK tourists, I think they would. I don't know how many of them would have it in them to actually have enough respect to learn the language. They would just anticipate that everyone speaks English. That's kind of the way it goes. Where it's like, hello, do you speak English? Oh, thank God. So so maybe that's like the way in which it goes. But I would imagine there is a diaspora, but I would imagine that in America there are far more Greeks than in any other country. Potentially even more than in Greece, ironically. So I think I'm not surprised at all that America's a big audience.
And then Australia, because there are Greeks there too.
Yeah, well, Australia, well, to be fair, that might just be some guy who watched Iseto Terimu, took it too seriously, moved to Australia, and is now trying to live that lifestyle. It's not 2001 anymore. Move on, bro. But no, to be honest, those don't surprise me at all, because I'd imagine where the diaspora goes, that is probably where you will also learn the language. To be honest, you might have one guy, but I would find it very hard to believe that anyone in Svalbard, in the North Pole in Norway, would be learning Greek. Maybe, but I think maybe they'd be learning Swedish instead or something, or maybe instead they'll be looking at how the hell they could get out of Svalbard. I would definitely recommend not living there, but it's far too cold and there are polar bears everywhere. But
oh my God. I'm happy with all of the people who learn Greek from all over the places because, apart from my YouTube channel, we have a community. It's like a Do You Speak Greek membership. So we have a community here and we have people from all over the world. We don't have people from Australia and these places on the earth because we have our meetings at times that they couldn't follow us. So they're from the US, from Brazil, from Finland, from Italy, from, this is crazy. And you can see how many people want to learn Greek.
Well, I always think it's always so incredible when you see the analytics, or even when you get someone leave a comment. I'm sure you've received comments before where it's like sending support from Slovakia or something. You go, okay, someone in Slovakia's watching me. I remember one of the most insane DMs I ever got on my Instagram would be, hey man, I found your YouTube channel, great videos, sending support from Bhutan. Bhutan is like some Buddhist kingdom in the middle of the Himalayas. Some guy in Bhutan is watching my videos. It's unbelievable. I love Bhutan. I love the Jonga language. I love the fact that they call themselves the land of the thunder dragon. So the fact that it's made it all the way to Bhutan is incredible. And I'd imagine you get stuff like that as well. It's like some super niche country.
Yes, now you reminded me a comment. And one guy told me that he was watching me from Patagonia. Patagonia. Wow. And I was, oh my God, wow.
Yeah, that's in, I believe that's in South America, like Argentina and Chile, I think, Patagonia, the desert. Yeah, that's super far away. That's incredible. to be honest, if you ever get anyone send in support from Antarctica, that would be like the final boss. Where it's like sending support, bloody hell, the penguins are watching me. That's great. Even the penguins want to learn Greek. Top quality stuff. So, but I do love that.
No, for me, this was a dream came true. I couldn't imagine that I would have spoken with so many people from all over the planet. And now, I met so many incredible people who have been following me since 2018. And we have been friends for now. I'm very excited with that because, as I told you before, my life was quite simple, and my only dream was to, to teach ancient Greek to high school students. And now with this Do You Speak Greek project, all my perspective has changed. I think I opened a new whole world in front of me, and I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, well, with social media, you always do realize how many people around the world there are. So I think with that, with your story about sending support from Patagonia, it's like, well, that's niche and a half. So now, if you were to go to Patagonia, you can rely that there's one person there who will recognize you and who will know where you are. And actually, beyond the baton thing was a private message, but comments-wise, this actually kind of made me a little bit embarrassed because I was in London. I went to Parliament. Bit of actually not a little bit, huge waste of time. I shouldn't have gone there. The highlight of my trip was going to a bridge, which says a lot. If the best thing about your trip was a bridge, it probably wasn't the best trip in the world, right? But I had a guy comment under one of my videos that I put up not long after that. This might sound weird, but I think I saw you in Parliament. And I was like, okay, that's incredible. That's insane. But I was also a little bit upset because I was so bored that I was looking at my watch, swearing to myself, going, mate, just get me out of here. And that was the time he saw me. So I did feel a little bit about that because I was like, oh, if you would have seen me any other time, it would have been better. Because literally, he was probably sat somewhere else going, just looking at me going, is that passport guy with like 500 subscribers? I'm just looking at my watch going like, oh, get me out of here, man. Looking at the doors, where can I quickly leave? So that was a little bit unfortunate, but that is one of my favorite comments of all time. But to be honest, I'd imagine you as well. I love the comment section, to be honest.
Yes, no, for me it's even this interview now, I wouldn't have met you if I didn't have my channel. For me this is incredible. And sometimes I feel like Indiana Jones. Do you know him?
Yeah, of course. I know him very well. Yes, I haven't had the pleasure of meeting him yet, but I do know him very well. Yes,
he was a teacher, but he wasn't a traditional teacher.
No.
So sometimes I feel like him. I would love to be like him, to be honest.
Yeah, well, to be fair, Indiana Jones, now we've opened up a whole other level because if you've seen all the films, which I'd imagine you have, if you brought up the reference, there is no one who I would like to live more like than Short Round. The kid in the second film when they go to India. That guy's a legend, and I have arguments with people about it where it's like, he's annoying. No, he's not. How many kids would be brave enough to initiate a slave uprising against like some underground elite cult? Nah, Short Round is a legend. So if you ever are going to go on any quest, let me know, because I'll happily join you no matter how dangerous it is. So if you're going to go to like somewhere to find some ancient paranormal treasure, let me know and I'll get on the first flight to go on that adventure with you, because I'm in need of a Indiana Jones level adventure now. And actually, to be fair, when we talk about making an interesting video, like that would do wonders for the YouTube channel, where it's like finding the Ark of the Covenant. Oh, okay, yeah, just digging in Egypt, trying to avoid getting arrested. We found the Ark, guys. Let's open it. So I think if you ever want to
in Thessaloniki.
yeah, literally.
We don't have to go to Egypt. We have our places here,
Yeah, absolutely. Or maybe you'll go like looking for the lost city of Atlantis. It's just, you vlogging on a boat going, is that city down there or something? Or in fact, Journey to the Center of the Earth, if we go to Iceland and climb into some volcano could probably make it out there. So any Indiana Jones adventure, I'm fully with you on that one. Just a couple of more fun-based questions as we wrap up here. We had the Indiana Jones thing covered quite well. In your opinion, just on the Greek for now, Greek is quite unique, where I don't think there's any other language in the family branch beyond Greek, similar to Albanian. But what language would you say is the closest to Greek?
For me, it's Spanish, maybe. Yes, because when I was studying it, I could find a lot of similarities. No, not only with the words, but with the meanings too. And maybe Italian, because they're similar too. But okay, we need to understand that the Greek language has its own alphabet, of course.
And I'd imagine its own grammar and everything else. I don't know how many...
Yes, the grammar is a little more complicated in Greek than Italian and Spanish. And because we're talking again about the Greek alphabet, I wanted to say something for the people who want to learn Greek. We know that the Greek language has a unique alphabet, and why it is important for us, for me especially, because I have heard many Greeks to say, oh, why do we need all these E sounds? Why do we need all these O sounds? We need them because all these things are the connection with the ancient Greek language. If we stop using the Greek alphabet, we don't have the connection we need with the ancient Greek language. It's something we call historic writing. But that's why I believe that it's very important to keep the Greek alphabet and the Greek words as they are.
Well, I do see that point. Frankly, I have no problem with keeping both the Omega and the Omicron. If anyone ever does decide to get rid of at least one of the Greek E letters, I don't think I'd protest too heavily about that one, to be honest. But I do, jokes aside, I do agree with you where I don't think you should simplify it. I think it should be maintained as to how it is, because that's what makes it unique at the end of the day, which as you said, is crucial, and to the uniqueness and to the survival, I suppose you could say, of the Greek language as we know it today. We've established that you naturally Greek, English, you also do Spanish as well. So I'll say that for this next one, it can't be Spanish, but is there any language that you don't speak yet to the level of English and Greek that you would love to be able to speak in the future that isn't Spanish?
Oh my God. I don't consider me that I speak English well. First, I would like to be perfect in English, first of all. But, as I told you before, a language is a real struggling. You need to speak and to speak and to speak a lot to get better and better. That's why I told my students they need to make the Greek language part of their lives, as I try to do with English. So yes, first in my list is to be perfect in English, to improve the way of speaking, to improve my pronunciation too. And then it is Spanish, because I don't speak Spanish. I know Spanish, I can understand, but I can't speak a word again, because I got a lot of input, but no output. And then, if I had the opportunity to learn another language, I would love to learn Italian. I love the sound of the language, the pronunciation. I can totally do that.
Yeah. Well, Italian is Italian's one of those languages, like we said, where if you hear it, you can recognize it immediately, which I imagine goes into that incentive for you to learn it. This is a question that I ask everyone who is in linguistics, whether they're a professor, a teacher, they have a YouTube channel, or maybe they're just a polyglot themselves. But have you ever considered writing your own language, like Alexandran or something, where it's like maybe you customize your own and maybe you'll try and get that going in the future.
Oh my God. No, it would be fun, but I'm okay with the Greek language. I'm a servant of Greek language.
Fair enough, but if you ever do write your own language, maybe Alexandran or something, maybe you could do like another YouTube channel. It's like, do you speak Alexandran? Well, of course not, because you made the language up. So maybe teach it then, please. But no, that's just a little fun question that I like to ask all the linguists here. Just to find, what is your favorite thing about your YouTube channel specifically, if you had to pick one thing?
My favorite thing is the connection with people, the perspectives it gave me. And as we like to say now, we found this in 2024, our dreams came true with my YouTube channel, and all these people who follow us and who support us, they give us wings every day to make our dreams come true. The connection. So all these people, I'm so grateful for these kind people, and I believe in my community. I have the kindest people on the planet.
Well, that was so beautifully put. And frankly, I always love it when someone evidently, as you do, has such a large level of care and respect for the audience that allowed them to. Naturally, you provided the service to them, but they also allowed you to get to the point where you are now investing in equipment. You are vlogging now. You are making different type of videos where it's not just, hey, do you speak Greek, but you're also teaching about the culture of the different islands and what have you, which is beautiful and certainly very unique. And to be honest, I think the way you phrase that and the level of respect that you evidently do have for your audience is unmatched. And frankly, I don't think anyone should have any more incentive to subscribe to you beyond just the fact that you do respect your audience and the community that you've built and that you are building to such a high level. And there we have it. That was in her own words. That was Alexandra from Do You Speak Greek? What an amazing conversation. I'll have her YouTube channel down below in the description, but chances are if you've made it this far, you're probably a fan of hers like I am already. But just make sure that you are subscribed to both my channel and her channel as well to get that double benefit here and there. So Alexandra, thank you so much. It was an absolute blast talking with you. I thoroughly enjoyed our conversation. I'd love to continue it in the future, perhaps when you do go on an Indiana Jones level quest, or maybe just when you or maybe when you just go on a maybe in the future as 2025 will be even brighter. So thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. You were a very kind host. I would love to talk again with you. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm very excited, really.